You know what? I did really good with that back in the day. And this was my approach with FSBO. Even my agents now, when I talk to them about FSBO, they're like, oh, people still do that. You always got you know how I go. You got the DIY, do it yourself, and then let's go on and put this out here. Real estate ain't the most respected industry in the world. So some people either love agents or hate agents. They feel like, what they really do. You got all Zillow saying they can help you open the door. You got so many other companies kind of making it really hard for realtors. So you either got to become competitive in the market if you're going to stay in this game, right? You either got to, tweak yourself a little bit, become competitive, or get in wherever you can fit in. So with FSBOs, for an example, they like, hey, I can take pictures. I can go down to Home Depot and buy a lockbox. I can get that for sale sign too. There's around the corner at the Home Depot for $10. Put in a yard. I can go to Zillow, put my house listed for free, right? Go to other places and list it for free. Get the internet exposure, whole deal. So now as an agent, what are you bringing to that seller that already feel like they can do this themselves?
You're listening to the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast with host Kevin Jefferson. This is the #1 podcast for African American real estate professionals who are doing extraordinary things. It's time to tune in. And now, your host, the People's Lender, Kevin Jefferson.
Welcome to the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson, and today our guest is Miss Nikki Crowder. How are you, Nikki?
Good. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to this interview. So, Nikki, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Great. I am the owner, CEO, and broker of record for Solutions First Realty. I am a boutique firm, what they call some of the smaller brokerages, serving the Atlanta market. We serve the outside, cities too. So the entire metro, market, Northeast Atlanta, we service.
Okay, awesome. So how did you get into real estate?
Oh, you know what? I started actually as an investor. I had bought a couple of houses 20 plus years ago. I think one house, and I was very intrigued by the Section 8 program. I think that program is still around, but it was a government program. And I remember watching a video years ago. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this guy name was called Carlton Sheets. And he had an infomercial that played, like at 2:00 in the morning. And it said, become real estate rich and own and be a millionaire. And I don't know how I got suckered into this infomercial, but I did. And I bought it was back then, it was on cassettes and it had DVD players. And I bought it, and he was showing you basically how to buy a house with no money down and bad credit. So I was like, can you really do that? And it worked. I did it. So I followed his system, and that's what started. And then it kind of came to me at some point, well, you know what? If you sell the houses, you can get the commission that you make off the houses to put to use towards your rehab. And it went on from there. So, and then I met an agent that looked like me. That was, he's passed now. Michael Grills, a big agent in the DeKalb County area. And he was, such a put together guy. And he, I was like, this guy looked like me. He had his stuff together. He dominated the listing side of real estate. And I was like, you know what? I can do that. And that kind of gave me my little push.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good old Carlton Sheets.
Yeah.
So what year was this when you got your license?
That was 99, 2000. In that era, yep. And that was back then, they were giving houses away. Like, you didn't have to do much to get a house, right? That was back when they were putting $500 down. Everybody qualified. They didn't have the stuff they have now versus back then was totally different. Totally different. Yep.
So 2000, mm-hmm. How did you pick your brokerage? Were you with a large brokerage, boutique brokerage? Like, explain that process.
That's a funny story. And that led me into opening Solutions First Realty. Honestly, I was a single parent at the time. My daughter that works with me, that run my office, she's now 30 years old. That used to be in the back seat in the car with me when I was showing houses, that, was with me during my early days of real estate, trying to learn the business. When I came out of real estate school, it was either make it or not make it for me. So, in real estate, now that I'm a broker and I have agents and people come to me advice and people actually listen and pay to hear my story, it's funny because for a long time I was like, I really don't have a story to tell. And I started thinking, wait, I've been in this game a long time. I've been through a lot. People, I could charge people for this data, So that came into the millennium side of things. We usually give our stuff away for free. So having to learn that, and then when I came out of real estate school, like I said, as a single mom, I needed my whole check. I needed all my commission. If it was $5,000, I needed at least $4,500 of it. Now I give you a little bit because as a broker, when you're with a brokerage, that's the Georgia Real Estate Commission law that a broker has to hold an agent license, right? So that's what we do. We hold your license. And we kind of know what deals you're closing. We make sure you stay in compliance. We support, train, and all that. But I could not go with the big boys. I could not go with Remax, In-Town, Buckhead, Keller, Duke on the Hill. Those people wanted a big part of your check. They want a big part of your check. And at the time in my career and where I was in my life, I could not do it. Honestly, I did not look into the brokerage as far as what training they offered. They offered because I really did not care. And that was the truth. That was my truth back then. I didn't care. I know I need to hustle. I was hustling before, so I knew the hustle side of real estate was going to be easy for me. We all know hustle is something you can't train to teach, right? You either have it or you don't, right? So if I'm hustling and I'm doing my, I needed all my checks. So for me, even though I'm sharing that story today, that is still something I tell every agent that walk in this door or call me about my brokerage. That is not something I would suggest that you do. But that was my story. And that's why I chose Paul Rice Realty 20 plus years ago. He was a flat fee brokerage. He charged a couple of $100 per deal. You didn't ask too many questions, but when you did something wrong, he was all on you. So that's how I learned.
Wow. So I know you for your listings, right? Your ability to list a lot of properties. And I want to touch on that because I think that is a topic that new agents and experienced agents need to hear about, but I don't think it's being taught by anybody. So that's why the listings are dominated by who it's dominated by.
Right.
So how did you get to being such a great listing agent?
I learned early on. Now, even though my I'm gonna say my knowledge because I was gonna say something about we being recorded, but I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. I'm still gonna say it, but I'm gonna clean it up, and I'm gonna say my training for me came from my actual doing. So I wrote a contract that was all wrong, and somebody had to come to me and say, "This look a hot mess. Fix that." So then I learned from that, right? So I knew being a buyer's agent, and I was much younger then. That was 20 some years ago. I was running. I had my daughter. We can run all day, all night. But I noticed too when I mentioned the guy, the Michael Rip guy. I noticed this guy had a sign that everybody yard. Everybody yard. Now I'm spending all my Saturdays, all my Sundays out with a buyer, showing them houses every single weekend, right? So all of a sudden that whole work smarter, not harder thing kind of came into play. And then I noticed too, a lot of people that were listing property were more seasoned people. So I was like, they got to know something that I obviously don't know. Now, had I chose my brokerage different, right, I probably would have got that training on what to go after. But remember, I didn't get that. So I'm going to have to get it from my peers, or I'm going to have to Google it or YouTube it. Right. So I did a lot of Googling back then. I think it was YouTube. I don't even know. But I did a lot of Googling. I was in a lot of groups. Active Rain was big back then. So that was a group I was in. And there was a lot of old heads saying what they were doing. And I just did what they did. The wheel is already created. We just all tweaking it to our own little style. And we're getting on and we're doing our thing. None of us are recreating the wheel. Real estate has been the same as far as the listing and selling. Everybody's just doing it their way now. That's it. The game hasn't changed, So once I saw that, and I saw that if I dominated the market with listings, I wouldn't have to spend my entire weekend with multiple buyers, 5 buyers in one day. Well, I'm having to say, look, showed you 6 houses. I got some Tyrone behind you. You married that on these 6 because I got married behind Tyrone. I'm gonna show him 5. He gonna marry that. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's not really like a quality, but there was a different real estate back then. We had abundance of houses. Nothing like it is now. You can find that 5 houses, you can pick one, 4 houses, you can pick one. It was done. So totally different. So for me, it made sense for me to tap into that listing side. And then when I got into that listing side, that was a whole nother beast, because working with a buyer and a seller is completely different. It's different. Totally different. It's much easier to me. Obviously, now most agents would probably say, yeah, because you the one with the signing, y'all. People calling you, right? You at home lifetiming it. Your phone blowing up with people saying, can I schedule an appointment? Can I see your listing? Can I see your listing? Did you get my offer? Come on, you can't beat that.
Right. So in terms of getting the listings, if I was a new agent and I wanted to start out getting listings, what are one of the first things that I should be doing to get a listing?
Well, as a new agent coming out of school, and especially if you have no sales experience, and I tell all my mentees this, and my agents, even my seasoned agents, you got to get ran over and stomped. You got to get your feeling hurt. You got to shed a couple of tears. You got to get on that phone. You got to be told no a lot of times.
Okay.
You're going to have to be told no so many times. Well, it's just going to be like a song in your head, basically. No, I'm not ready right now. You're going to have your rebuttals together. Just like I tell people at the elevator speech, you know, you got to build some tough skin quick. Because, you know, a lot of people get into this game and they have a whole false persona on what they think real estate is. And it's really not that. So a new agent coming out, because I have some new agents here that came out of school, and how they knew this, maybe YouTube, Google, I don't know, you know, I don't want to work with no buyers. I'm going strictly after, they coming out the gate. I want to do listings. I'm not tying up my Saturday. I'm going after listings. So I do old school, new school. You have other brokers only new school. Or I think you need to have both, you know, as an agent coming in, you need to know both ways, because everybody don't have an Instagram account. Everybody don't do Facebook. So you still got those people that want to touch something. You got people that don't believe in the internet. You know what I'm saying? You got the older people that just got an iPhone to see their grandkids' pictures. So you missing that tap market. You missing this, you see? So you kind of need to tap into all of it, right? But you gotta get ran over first. You gotta hear a bunch of no's. And that goes back to when you get into real estate. If you jumping into this industry with no money, like me, right? No money. I needed that deal like yesterday, right? So now you stress, you need the money. You don't have time to get into like learning and really figuring out how this business works, because you strictly into survival hustle mode. Like I can't hear about what I need to do over here. I need to hear about it. You're gonna get this house, we're gonna write this contract and close this deal. So when that mindset is like that, it's totally different. Totally different how to, you know, what you can really digest in and how you really figure out how this thing works. So that's to a new agent, that's what I suggest. Don't be broke, keep your full-time job. Please have your stash to the side, a stash to the side. You know, and get ready to jump out there with your knee pads, your tissue, get on that phone. You know, I still believe in, you know, some people do well with calling people. Some people, you got people out knocking on doors, you know, people working their sphere influence, their social media. There's so many things, but the big thing is you have to do it, and you have to network. I am a big networker. I think networking works a lot. And I'm not saying networking in the groups where they have margaritas and tequila with a whole bunch of other agents, because the other agent, she's trying to do the same thing. I mean, that may not be the pool you need to be in. So you're going to have to go somewhere else where it's not saturated with agents, so you can try to meet somebody that possibly feed you. You know?
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha. So in terms of what I hear you say is fail fast.
Yep.
By failing fast, you begin to learn what you don't know.
Right.
So what happens, like at what point? So you say fail fast, get a lot of no's. Who should I start calling? Like, that's the thing. Like,
what do you,
a lot of brokerages pay higher splits now. So the higher the split, the less conversation you're having with your broker, because he or she or they don't make a lot off of you.
Right.
So who do I call? Like, who do I call for a listing?
Okay. So new, you just got licensed yesterday. I suggest what would be easier for you, because most people are scared, would be people that know you.
Okay.
So that would be, your spirit influence. But what if you somebody like me with your spirit influence, they don't have houses. They credit bad. I can't get them to pay their light bill on time, let alone, you know what I'm saying? You talking about buying a house is a whole nother realm. What if your spirit's like that?
Right.
But everybody's spirit's not like that. So for the people that fell into my category that had a spirit like that, now you got to talk to who? Strangers, people who don't know you. So I don't know if you ever been approached by the people. I know any lady that's listening to this, that's gonna listen to this interview, they have all been in Marshall's, Target, or somewhere where a Mary Kay person approached them. You know what their approach is? They say, "Your makeup is so pretty, or your hair is so nice. Who do you make up?" They start their conversation. When they gave you a compliment, right? This is a stranger. Now you already know this is a Mary Kay person off the rip. That's their approach. Now, however Mary trained them over there, but they are going up to strangers, they giving a compliment, and you know what come after that? It's the card. Doom, doom, doom. Oh, I'm a Mary Kay consultant. We do free, facials and groups with ladies, da 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 da. So that's a stranger interaction with somebody while you at Marshalls or Home Good. You see? So now you trying to get business from a stranger is totally different when you're trying to get your auntie to list their house. Your auntie know you, she trusts you, and that's easier. I always tell my agents, or some of my agents call me, "Oh, my cousin want to list her house. I'm so nervous." I'm like, "Girl, that's the easiest lead. That's your cousin. She gonna believe anything you tell her. You tell her house worth 800. She gonna believe and she gonna let you list it because that's blood. You go tell Mark over here that don't know you from Adam's apple. Go persuade him to let you list his house. That's a different story. Because you know what? Mark has called 5 other agents out there and he interviewing all 5 of them. Now, who really gonna come with the A game? Now, I want to mention too that you said about flat book. Well, a lot of us brokers, all our commission splits are different. Even in some of the bigger houses, which is very shocking to me, you have a lot of agents out here that say, well, I didn't ask my broker. That is the role of a broker. Your broker is there to assist. They're not there to breastfeed you. Okay. Some people get that, kind of confused. They're not gonna put you under their armpit and hold you like a newborn, but they are to assist you and train you and give you the proper tools so you can survive out here in the game. That is their role. That's when you sit down and talk to brokers and agree on splits and this and that. It's a give and take. I give you this, you give me this back in exchange. That's how it works. So yes, the splits are getting lower. My shop, the splits are lower. It's set up where everybody can eat. But my agents call all the time. As a broker, you can't just not say, well, I ain't gonna be able to help you. But there are also a lot of tools out here too that you don't even have to pay for to gain your knowledge. It's a million mentors and coaches and everybody named mama selling a course. Now, I don't suggest you go broke buying courses. You know what I'm saying? But it may be cheaper for you to pay $10 for a YouTube subscription and go listen to some YouTube or some air. What we doing right now, you can listen to some pods. That's free. You see? So it's a lot, but a lot of people don't want to get into that realm and do all that. A lot of people want the deals handed to them from their families, but when you don't have that and you got to go out and do what the Mary Kay people do, that's a totally different story. When you have to go out and door knock, what if you work in expired listings? I think expired listings is a good deal. To me, that's a seller that has listed their house for whatever reason. It expired, meaning they did not renew that listing with their agent. Maybe they fell out. Maybe it's an unrealistic seller. We don't know. But it don't matter. We just going to ease on in there and see what's going on to see if there's an opportunity for us. Only thing the seller can say is what? No. Move on to the next one. There's another expired listing after that one. You just move on to the next one. That's it.
What about approaching for sale by owners?
You know what? I did really good with that back in the day. And this was my approach with FSBO. Even my agents now, when I talk about FSBO, they're like, "Oh, people still do that." You always got, you know how I go. You got the DIY, do it yourself, and then let's go on and put this out here. Real estate ain't the most respected industry in the world. So some people either love agents or hate agents. They, they feel like, what they really do. You got all Zillow saying they can help you open the door. You got so many other companies kind of making it really hard for realtors, So you either got to become competitive in the market. If you're going to stay in this game, right? You either got to, tweak yourself a little bit, become competitive, or get in wherever you can fit in. So with FSBOs, for an example, they like, hey, I can take pictures. I can go down to Home Depot and buy a lockbox. I can get that for sale sign too. That's around the corner at the Home Depot for $10. Put in the yard. I can go to Zillow, put my house listed for free. right? Go to other places and list it for free. Get the internet exposure, whole deal. So now as an agent, what are you bringing to that seller that already feel like they can do this themselves? What you calling them to say, I can list your house? Well, so is the neighbor, their cousin, and everybody and their mama. You got to call with something a little different. You know what a FSBO, what they don't know, what they need help with is one or two things. They're not getting the marketing exposure, right? Either they don't want to deal with all the people coming in and out with the showings, right? That drives people crazy. They say they can do it until the people want to come every hour and they like, this is working my nerve, right? And they don't understand the contracts. They do not understand them contracts. They are oblivious. So to me, the FSBOs, when I reach out to a FSBO, which I just did a training on that, for me, first thing if I'm a call, or especially if I see one in my own community, what? I'm feeling like, wait, that's in my yard. Now you in my swimming pool. I'm knocking on the door. Like, there's a reason to use an agent. Now, some I'm going to tell you, Nick, my sister agent, but I told her I'm going to see if I do it myself, save me some coins. I'm going to listen with my sister, though. You see? Here's the cake with that. Even if Mr. Bob won't listen with his sister. And here's the thing about real estate people forget. Real estate is a relationship building business. People forget the whole purpose of this thing. Everybody like, you want to buy? You want to sell? You want to buy? You want to sell? That's not the key. You got to get people to trust you and like you for them to do business with you. So now Bob just told me his sister, he going to use his sister. He going to get booted out the family if he don't. I respect that. He going to use his sister. But if I win him over, you know what Bob will do? He will refer me to his coworker, his church friend. Just because he's going to list with his sister, that don't mean every referral he get is going to go to his sister. You see?
Makes sense.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, well, listen, you got to keep it in the family. I understand. But if you have any questions about the contract or if it get complicated or something you don't understand, call me. I'm around the corner. You got my number. Take a call me. And they always do. They always do.
Wow. So this is bringing that value proposition.
You got to be a solution to the problem. You can't. You got to be a solution. And then you sometimes you got to get a little free. You throw a little freebie out there. Agents don't do that no more. Back in the day, we used to say, I throw you a freebie. To us, that means I'm gonna show you a house one time without being approved. You show me the money, we crank up the car. No money, we don't crank. Right. So that's the rule in real estate. Back then, we would, may show somebody a house around the corner or something. If you didn't have approval or something like that. But that's one. After then, you want to show some papers that
right.
You can buy something. You see? So, but you have agents now that, everybody got their rules and things and how much it'll take to turn your car over. And, there's no right or wrong. It's kind of like, what worked for you. One of the largest deals I sold in my career was a guy that called the office one day, right around the corner. He bought the house next to the mayor house. And he said, hey, saw you on Zillow. There's a house on the corner I want to see. I was been feeling good that day too. And I was actually going to Chipotle to get me some lunch. It was right on the corner in Snellville. It was passing the house. So I said, well, I'm going to go get me some food. I stopped by. I'm passing right by. So when I asked him about, his finances, he got offended. People do that sometimes. He was like, that's not a problem. The money's not a problem. I was like, yeah, that's what everybody say. Right? I'm saying to myself. So I get in my car, crank up, ride over there and meet him. That dude bought that house, the one across the street, the one up the street. He's buying all the houses.
Wow.
So see, that was convenient. Now, I have to drive an hour. I was passing it going to Chipotle. Why'd I show it? We became good friends. I sold a house and see. So sometimes you have to use, you kind of got to read and kind of, it's okay. Like it's okay if you show somebody something and you ain't go all out your way. You just never know what they may turn into either. So that's not something I suggest you do all the time. But in certain cases, like the one I just described, that was a situation that worked out in my favor. So,
So with that being said, if the mindset, the expectations of agents of what an agent should do has changed in the market.
A lot.
How do you feel, and I know you don't know all agents, how do you feel the industry will be affected when we're not in a market that is so hot because there's a lot less people being trained. Like
Right.
you can breathe and sell a house right now.
Right. And me and you both know it's not going to stay that way. We've been in the game long enough to know this thing what goes up, come down, come on. I mean, we both survived the crash. I remember that like it was yesterday. And I was like, I ain't going to ever be set up. That will never happen to me again. Like, closing all them deals like then, they were giving houses away. All of a sudden, they were like, yeah, we ain't going to be the close. Like, wait, what? Then here's another call. We ain't going to be the close. Like, wait, I'm down to 4 deals. 4 deals? I don't know, 4? Like, what? And you know what? This is a book I always tell people to read and it helped me, especially with my new age. And here's the deal with new agents now coming into the game. They just think it's roses and cotton candy falling from the sky. I didn't have to go to college. I just got this license. Took me less than a month. I'm about to make these 6 figures. I'm about to be on the gram and I'm about to get on TV or something. Whatever they thinking, right? So, and the reality is, this thing changes all the time. So when the market shifts, you have to shift. You remember that book, Who Moved the Cheese? Right? So the cheese moved. Guess what? Nikki did not know the cheese had even moved. I had no clue. The cheese went way over here. I'm still running my bike over here. You see what I'm saying? So I missed the entire everything. And because I wasn't following along with the market, and that's another thing about real estate that we don't do. Our market is really designed and it moves by what's happening in politics in the world. So if you're not kind of keeping up, I ain't saying you need to become a political analyst, you know what I'm saying? But you need to know what's going on out here in the politics on the side, like what's happening in the market, the rates, get with you a good loan officer, so they keep you in the loop. You got to know what's going on so you can position yourself as an agent. You see, even as a loan officer, you got to know. So when stuff start moving, you need to know how you need to move. So then you can keep your clients informed and then you know what you need to do. So let's just say the rental market boomed up right now. Where the rental market is booming. Unfortunately, we don't have any rental. So maybe the rental market need to jump. I remember when I jumped in on the short sale side. You remember? Everybody was short selling. I was like, now what in the short? How you do a short thing? Then everybody started selling the course. The CDPE short sale. By then, I had already taught myself on how to do a short sale. I was like, but I need to get the acronyms. I get it. You see what I'm saying? So whenever stuff starts shifting, you need to be ahead of that. Like a lot of times in real estate, when it shifts, you'll miss it. Like right now, the word on the street right now, they're saying they've been talking about this for years. They've been talking about shadow inventory, right? We don't know where the shadow is. There shadow inventory? Like we don't know, right? So we got shadow inventory. That's a buzzword that's thrown around a lot, right? Then you have the market gonna crash from all the people that did the forbearance with the COVID. So you have people that's waiting. Like as soon as that happened, these properties gonna hit the market, gonna have all these foreclosures. Well, as an agent, if that was true, wouldn't you probably go get a little knowledge on foreclosure? Because that may happen. We don't know, right? All this is a forecast. We don't know. So maybe you should try to learn maybe a little bit since things are slow or not moving as quick. That's the time you go up on your education. That's the time you need to go take you some classes on this thing do shift. You can go on and make the move. Hey, I'm already prepared. And for the agents that stuck in their ways, that they like, this is what I do. Client call me, they're approved. We go look, we close, we buy. The ones that do it that way and don't ever go outside, and that's the way they do it. We got the ones that set in their ways. I'm not going to be that agent like that or that broker like that. I move wherever the industry goes. If the industry is swinging me this way, hey, we got to swing this way. It's going to swing me back. Hey, we got to swing this way. Hey, everybody doing short sale. Hey, everybody selling foreclosures. You got to be knowledge across the board. You know, you can always have your niche. I always say get rich in your niche. Whatever your niche is, whatever you like, your baby, your thing. I like working with distress sales. I do. There's no emotional involvement with that. They come from bank. It's just asset 2884. Sell it. Dispose of it. That's it. Now, Mr. Jones, there's the emotional attachment. He painted that wall. He planted that tree. He laid that driveway. He's attached to that house. So you got to approach that thing totally different. So master your niche, but you still got to be able to survive across the board. You need to know how to do a little bit of everything, really. So that's something that's in real estate that a lot of people struggle with. People get, that's the way I learned. That's the way I do it. And that's it.
That makes a lot of sense. because you're right. The market is ever changing, and you have to be able to make those adjustments. And you said something that was key. You didn't see that there was a shift.
I didn't.
It had already shifted.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we have to be students of our craft as well, to pay attention if we're truly going to be real estate professionals for a long term.
Right.
Long
and
term.
That too, I want to say, even though I said about real estate not being a very, may not be a respect, you got to respect your own business. Even before I became a broker and had 60 plus agents, I ran my business as a business. Like, this was a business. This is not run through. This is what I do. I got 89 hustles. This is my business, and I run it like a business. I work my hours. I have a family. I have to maintain. You have a work-life balance. I'm older now, so now I really see how important. In my younger days, is more work, no balance, and work, right? So now having a work-life balance and now teaching other agents coming in so they won't do what I did back then. You have to have a work life. There's nothing I could do for you at 9:00 at night about a house. What are we talking about? You want to talk about clearing conditions and what you asking me what the attorney address is, or it's being the signature bar and the people in the email at the bottom that has the address with attorney, like that just nothing. Like the underwriter's gone home. There's the seller's like there's nothing. That's family time. So, and I remember I used to laugh at agents years ago. It's called their voicemail. Remember, I didn't have a training that they taught them, right? So I used to call their voicemail. They used to say, if you're calling after 6 o'clock, your call will be returned the next business day. You'd be like, sucker, get these deep. That's what I used to think. Now I'm the main person. 601. Gotta be done tomorrow. So now I respect that and understand. But had I been taught that 20 years ago, I could have had a lot more, probably could have saved a lot of things, a lot of situations back then. You know what I'm saying? And then time blocking. I didn't know what's a time block. You hustle 24/7. What are you blocking?
Right.
So I see now how all those things are important, are very important. So as a new agent coming out of, out of school with a license, you need to learn all though. You got to set up your business properly. Because mine wasn't always set up properly.
Got you. So what would today's Nikki tell year 2000 Nikki to do in her real estate business that would save her a ton of time and headache?
I would go back to education and training. Okay. I would, if you have the resources and you can afford to get a mentor, a coach, somebody that has been through the fire. And I'm not saying somebody that, wrote a book, been in the game 2 years, you've been doing the heyday and and you just wrote a book. I'm talking about somebody that's been through some things, those are numbers I'm talking about, where you survived through some stuff and real estate has been your career and you can shed some light and tell me some things, what not to do. Is like going to a financial advisor. They set up your finances, let you know what to invest in, what to do. That's what you would need as a real estate person. I think coming in, if this is really your full-time career and this is your passion, because you got to remember, some people get their license, and say, this is my side hustle. I sell 1 or 2 houses a year, and then you have the ones saying, this is what I want to do full time. That's totally different. Now, I'm speaking to those people. To those people, real estate is going to be your full-time career path, your career choice. Invest in the education, learn from other people, get your mentor, coach, both if you can, right? Pick your brokerage, pick your broker. You need to pick your broker, kind of like, you got to have somebody that's relatable, I guess. And everybody, you relate to people all different, like some agents may say, I just don't relate to her. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. They may relate better to this broker over here. Right. And that's okay. But you got to be with somebody that you feel like you can come to and say, hey, I don't understand this. Or how exactly does this work? Somebody that's going to tell you that they made a boo-boo themselves and they fell down. Like, I have no shame in saying that. What happened to me when the market shifted? I didn't know. I didn't keep up. I lost. I had to start over. I was a total rebuild, a total mess. This is what I did wrong, and I don't want to do it again. So I'm sharing that with you, so you can stay ahead. So you need somebody like that. I don't need you to just sit behind the desk and you just sign off on the check. I need you to share me those war stories so I can know and be prepared to know how to fight my own war. Because this, in real estate, this, this is not an easy career to be in. It's very rewardful. You could, we all know it's provided a good life for all of us. But if I had to do it all over, and I tell any new agent, invest in your training, your education, and pick your support system very wisely.
Got you.
Very wisely.
Do you currently attend any type of trainings, conferences, or anything within the industry to network differently?
I love to network, and my networking could be you remember I mentioned earlier about going to events. Now I have to say, and I was just telling somebody earlier, I need to switch that, because honestly, with me being a brokerage and trying to grow my brokerage, right, and get to know other agents, I need to be at them events where the agents at. That's where I need to be. I'm telling my agent, well, you probably won't be beneficial for you to go, but I need to be there so I can meet these other agents. You see?
Right.
So depending upon what your goal is, right? Whatever your goal is, you need to pick your networking functions, your groups, your associations. Another thing I tell my agents too, now I say this, we all done heard this on TV, but I always say to my agents, try to become a part of a group or something that you are that go-to person in a group. And then try to feed off other people. I have my agents also, if social media your thing or if it's a church thing, like, once you get past that being told no and stepped on, and once that skin get tougher, you don't have any problem reaching out to people. I don't think nothing is wrong. You and I met through social media, right?
Right.
Yep. I think we did some deals together, and then through another agent, you see? So yep. I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with meeting. If you see another agent that you say, you know what, he or she is doing their thing or whatever, there's nothing wrong to reach out to that person. One or two things gonna happen. We're going back to the same thing. What they gonna say?
Nope.
No. Or they say, oh, well, thank you for reaching out. Yeah, no, so I do this and this is who I work with. You never. But people are afraid to do that. I mean, they say closed mouth don't get fed. I mean, sometimes the knowledge you learn from somebody else, that is worth a lot in dollars, so you'll be surprised. I've learned a lot through other brokers and agents. I still do through brokers and agents. That's why I like to get out and network and meet with other people. I want to know how they running their shop, what they doing, this and that. I ain't gonna go to the lady across the street and ask her. She my competition, like Chick-fil-A going to McDonald's or McDonald's going to Chick-fil-A. They really should ask them about their training though, but that's a whole nother story. So, but I'm just saying, know who you need to ask and where you need to get your information from, and try to network as much as you can. But with COVID going on, it's kind of hard, but put your mask on, get your cards, get out and meet, and don't be that taker. I forgot about that too. Don't be that agent out there sucking up info from people and you ain't got nothing to give. Come on now, you got to throw a little something back. Now, somebody gave you the roadmap. Consider them and think about them when you hear of an opportunity, or if you working on something you think maybe it's a good idea that they could benefit from. Can't just be geek. You don't give them, So.
Got you. Mm-hmm. For sure. So I respect your time. I know you got some big things to do. For anyone who's interested in getting in touch with you, learning more about your brokerage, or getting some of that valuable information you have to offer, how can they reach you?
They can reach me on my website, which is solutionfirstrealty.com, or you can go to joinsfr.com. I am on Instagram. My Instagram name is Nikki_your_broker. And you can always just Google me, Nikki Crowder. I have a ton of reviews, a ton of stuff out in the internet world, and I'm very easy to find. And I don't know if I can say my number or not, but
you can say your number. Something to you.
So my number is 678-508-3878. I do answer my phone, so feel free to call me anytime.
Awesome. Thanks, Nikki. This has been the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Jefferson. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you for watching the Real Estate Proverbs Podcast with Kevin Jefferson. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when the latest video drops.